Students, today we are going to see reading and explanation of this one of my favorite chapter, Alchemy of Nature. Now, what is alchemy? Alchemy, it is supposed to be you can say an ancient, mysterious, magical power, which was basically used for transforming things or objects. And this very idea or the concept, it was, you can say, popular, or it was derived, or it was known to convert base metals into precious gold, because in even those you can say ancient days also people were crazy about gold. So that is the meaning of alchemy. Now, in the beginning, author is presenting us, you can say, this short stanza by one of the, of course, famous poet William Blake. To see a world in a grain of sand and a heaven in a wild flower. Hold infinity in the palm of your hand and eternity in an hour. Beautiful. Meaning is also given. Something as tiny as a grain of sand can spark off an idea or imagination of a huge significance to the world. That means that a tiny grain of sand also can be very significant to this huge world. Next, she says, one can witness and experience the beauty of heaven in something as small as wildflower and derive joy forever. Only one should have the eyes and time to see it. Infinity is endless space, but your small palm can hold the destiny of earth through your efforts. That means all of us have the power to do any huge task. All you have to do is set your mind to do it. You should be determined. Next line says, eternity is endless time, but just an hour in your life can make a difference to the world forever. That means great deeds can surpass the limits of time and space. They never die. Now, I think the author is presenting us this beautiful poem by William Blake, because in the before starting this chapter, she wants us to have a different perspective, to look at everyday things, objects around us, especially in nature. Now, let us start reading the chapter. We instinctively turn to outdoor activities and nature as a way of relaxing and enhancing our well being. That is because we feel that it is good for our overall health of our mind and body. Nature soothes and nurtures. Nature brings great relief and comfort to our tired mind, body, and soul. It is caring, it is nurturing. Nature fulfills and motivates. Nature always gives us wholesome, fulfilling experience. It also inspires us to do great things, gives us direction, guidance, shows us the right path. And that is why nature always plays a very important role in human life. She says, are you listening? Nature whispers and commands. When I do, it leaves me in complete awe. That means when we realize this magical power of nature, it leaves us wondering. It's truly amazing. Kids, do you remember, since childhood, you might have heard many such stories with some good morals, which is including some or the other elements of nature. And these elements, this certainly helps to find pretty obvious solutions even for complex situation. Do you remember any such stories? That is the magical power of nature. But only we should always keep our eyes open to observe. Now, in the next paragraph, she says, we have a hibiscus plant in our garden. Every fortnight, a flower blooms on it, big, bright, and tender. Through the day, it smiles with the sun and dances with the wind, But as evening approaches, it starts wilting, it becomes, drying and drooping. Morning after, it withers completely, and by evening, it falls, becomes one with the earth again. The flower comes to life only for a day, yet it does so in full splendor, magnificent, splendid appearance. What if we too lived our life, however short, to its fullest? Now, this is a very good example, my personal favorite, I should say. Now, kids, from this very example, even you can take a lot of encouragement, or you can say a positive message here. What is the message? That we should live every moment of our life with the same zest or energy, creating wonderful experiences or moments for ourselves and for others. We should always live with some solid purpose in our life. Like, for example, it could be a purpose of betterment of humankind. We should not let our potentials, knowledge, or talents go to a waste. We should always have ambition to elevate the quality of our life, make a progress, create joyous, happy memories in our life, even if it is short. Paragraph says, we went to a rocky beach and saw the spread of majestic ocean and the rocks alongside, carved, sculpted, and shaped by the water. Water is so gentle, rocks so hard, yet as the water flows over it every day, for years, the rock gives in. It takes the shape that the water commands. Our problems are so colossal that we are so small, and yet, if we persist. Now, what author is trying to tell us by using this example? Sometimes our unpredictable life brings us problems which are so huge. Colossal means huge, certain complex situation. Now, what is our first reaction in this case is that we get scared. Why we get scared? Because we are unsure of our own capacity to fight back. Now, what we should do in such a case? Nature tells us to continue trying. Do not give up, like those tides, which keeps coming back for hard and massive rocks and finally break it into small pieces. So, this is one lesson that we can learn from this example. Next, she says, we saw small bits of grass peeping through the small cracks in concrete pavement. It left us thinking, however impossible things may look, there is always an opening. Right. What is this opening? A ray of hope. To make things better, we will come out of any problem, any situation shining. We will always find a solution. Then in the next paragraph, she says, we saw a tree bare of all leaves in cold winter months. We thought its chapter was over. Chapter was over means now it's dead. There is no hope. It's not alive anymore. But 3 months passed, spring set in, and the tree was back to its green majesty once again, full of leaves, flowers, birds, and life. What if we too had the same conviction that however difficult things are right now, it will not remain so forever? Remember, this too shall pass. Really, isn't it? We saw an army of ants lugging a fly which was at least 10 times the ant's size. The ants organized themselves around the fly, lifted it on frail feelers, and carried it to a quiet distance. Frail feelers means weak legs. They are tiny, very tiny, as compared to a big fly. They are trying very hard to pull its dead body. The ant carried it to a quiet distance. Their teamwork and perseverance were impressive. What if we too are consistent, organized, focused? Can we do that? Now, spider webs, which are delicate, yet very strong. Now, these spider webs, as per the scientific information, they have the capacity to hold the weight of things which are many times heavier than it. She says, a rainbow colors the entire sky, huge sky. Oysters take in a grain of sand and they open up with a pearl. Now, that is real magic, isn't it? Who would think that a grain can get converted to a beautiful, shining pearl? Innumerable stars shine across the infinite sky. Clouds take new shapes with every passing moment. Now you would think, what kind of lesson we are getting here? Of course, even clouds also they are giving this very lesson of adaptability in any kind of environment or atmosphere if it is required. The wind makes tree dance with unhindered passion. Trees they always dance with wind passionately. Water without hint of ego changes its form according to the dictates of the sun and the wind. For example, now this dictates of the sun means orders of the sun, which means that we all of us know that what science is it tells us that heat of a sun converts water in different forms such as steam or ice that you have understood. So nature is telling us to let go of our ego like water, because too much of ego creates complexity in any kind of relationship. When we see a caterpillar turn into a butterfly totally unexpectedly, a flower turn into a fruit, we experience the alchemy of nature. We touch it and become gold ourselves. That means nature is continuously trying to teach us something new, give us a new lesson, something or the other. If we open our eyes and if we observe keenly, we're able to absorb these lessons and we will truly be able to turn ourselves into better human beings.